welcome back to the Spoony Stitcher channel. I'm Shannon the Spoony Stitcher, you're inside the stitchery, and this is the continuation of our quick, easy Christmas gifts. So today we are making something a little different. So in lots of my tutorial videos, you have probably seen one of these two things. You've either seen my little cauldron with my pins and needles, or you have seen my cup. I needed a holiday pincushion because as much as I love my cauldron, it doesn't quite go with Christmas. So I needed something a little different. And this one is fine, but it's lacking something, and that is weight. I pull the little needle out of here and it flies. So I needed something with some weight to it. So if you'll notice in today's materials listed down below, you need something that has a weight base because we are going to make a pincushion. And we are going to make a hot cocoa cup, complete with marshmallows. So this is what we're making today. Now, if you have never done amigurumi before, this is a very, very beginner-friendly tutorial. I walk you through everything, and I go very slow. So if you want to make a pincushion, that's fine, but this is also a great size for an ornament. You don't have to put the weights in it, or a keychain, or something cute to set on your desk. But for me, it's going to be a pincushion. So, grab your hooks and let's make a cute little mug of cocoa. Okay, so first we're going to make the hot cocoa. So we're going to make a magic ring or a chain 2 that you can turn into a magic ring, which I will link the tutorial for that down below. But if you want to know how to make a magic ring, I will show you very quickly. Make your hand kind of like this. Pinch with your thumb. Wrap the yarn around in kind of an X formation. Turn your entire hand, take these 2 fingers, and grab that string. Your hook needs to face with the head side down. Go under the first loop, grab the second loop, and turn your whole hook and grab the yarn that these 2 fingers are holding, right there. Now you've created a small little loop, and we're going to gently pull that piece through the loop, like that. And then you can let go. And now you've made a magic loop, magic ring, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so for round 1, we're going to make 6 single crochet inside a magic ring. Insert your hook into the ring, wrap your yarn like so, wrap, pull through the ring, and you now have 2 loops on your hook. Wrap and go through the 2 loops like so. Let's do that again. Insert my hook into the ring, wrap my yarn around my hook, and pull it through the ring. Now I have 2 loops. I'm going to wrap again and pull through those 2 loops. Now we need 6 of these, so I'm going to do it a little faster this time, okay? Into the ring, wrap, pull up, 2 loops, wrap, pull through. So what I like to say is in, wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in, wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through. 5 in, wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through. 6. Let's just double check here. So to count our stitches, they are little V's, and I hope you can see them. Of course, this is the hot chocolate, so it's dark, but these little V's that just sit on top, here, I'll stick my needle through and you can kind of see a little better. These little V's are what we count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This loop is nothing. We don't ever count this loop. We only count the loops that are on the ring. Okay. We are going to work in continuous rounds. So that means that we are not stopping and joining after every single round. We're just going to keep going. So we're going to take our tiny tail and gently pull. We have a small little hole, but not a big one. And now we're going to take our hook And this first stitch we made, we're going to insert under both loops. So go under the entire V. And now we're going to wrap, pull through the stitch instead of the ring, wrap, pull through. And that is a single crochet inside a stitch. We're going to mark it with our stitch marker so we know where we stop and start. And in that exact same stitch that we just made this stitch, we're going to make another stitch. And that is called an increase. That's where you have 2 stitches in the same stitch. That's an increase. Now I'm going to pull my short tail just a little tighter. The reason we didn't pull it super tight in the beginning is because the stitch on the end that you want to insert your hook into, if you pull the ring too tight, it's a little hard to get into that stitch. So I recommend just gently pulling it and then going into the stitch and then tightening it. But that's just me. Okay, we made 2, we need 12. So we're going to increase in every single stitch. So we're going to go into the stitch, wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through, same stitch, insert, wrap, pull up, wrap, pull through. That's 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, if I went too fast for you, feel free to pause the video at any time and back up the video if you need to know how to do that. I totally understand. But we're moving on to round 3, unless you've paused this video. We're going to take out our stitch marker, and in that very first stitch that where our stitch marker was, we're going to make an increase, which we just did all the way around. Back 2 stitches, that's where our stitch marker goes. We are going to do a staggered increase. So what is that? A staggered increase is where you have in the first row, say row A, we're doing an increase and then whatever our instructions are, and then we will end on the opposite of this stitch. And then in the next row, we start with those stitches and then increase, and then we'll end on an increase. And what that does is it gives us a circle instead of, in this case, because we're indivisible by 6, instead of a hexagon, which I think I just made an octagon. Oops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, I did. Okay, instead of a hexagon. Oh dear, I know shapes, I swear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Because our rows are divisible by 6 stitches, we are making a hexagon. We don't want that. We want a circle. So that's why we do that. If we were to do increase, increase, in our rows, we would get the hexagon. But by doing it this way, by staggering our increases, we are more likely to get a circle. Just a little pro tip. So we are increasing in the first stitch, and in the next stitch, we're just making 1. And that is our pattern. 2 in the next stitch, which is an increase, and 1 in the next stitch. 2 in the next stitch, 1 in the next stitch, 2 in the next stitch, 1 in the next stitch. The next one is 2. 1, 2, 1. Now, you should have 18 stitches around. Remember to count these little V's. But here is a quick tip, just so you know. Remember, you started on an increase. So your last stitch of the row should be a single crochet all by itself. If it's not, if it's an increase, something went wrong. So that's a little way to check yourself before you count, but please count. Okay. If everything is good to go and you've got 18 stitches around, then we can move on to round 4. Remove our stitch marker. Remember, we are staggering our increases, so our first stitch is just a regular single crochet. And mark it. Our next stitch is a regular single crochet. And the third stitch is the increase. Okay, let's do that again. So say it to yourself. 1, 1, 2. Let's do that again. 1, 1, 2. One, 1, 2. One, 1, 2. One more time. 1, 1, and we're ending on an increase, which is exactly what we want to do. Okay, you should have 24 stitches all the way around. Now what we're going to do is we're going to snip our yarn with a decent tail right there. Pull up our hook. Don't chain one, don't do any of that. Just pull it out, like so. Ta-da! Now we're going to do something called an invisible join. Don't worry, it's not hard. So we need to remove our stitch marker because it will be in the way. Okay, as you can see, our yarn is coming out of this stitch right here. So you see that? This is the next stitch, and then this is the stitch after that. This is the one we want to go into, and we want to go under both loops, like this. I'm just going to hold this so you can see. Okay? This is the stitch I'm going to go under, and we're going to gently pull our yarn. About like that. So you still have like a little loop here, right there. Okay? Now remember that stitch that our yarn was coming out of, right here? We are going to go in between it, right? Like that. Can you see? And then we're going to gently pull our yarn. Okay. Look at that. Now it looks like one of the stitches, but it's fake. But you can't tell. So that's why it's called an invisible join. Now we're going to take our yarn and we're just going to pick some stitches on the back here. It really doesn't matter. In fact, I'm going to get my yarn to the center. So I'm just going to go under these stitches like this. And I don't want that to be warped, so I'm going to go in the same stitch to kind of circle around it and make a little knot. Not a very big one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this tail that has my magic ring again, and I'm going to tie the two tails together. That way nothing comes undone in our piece. And I'm going to do it 3 times. I don't have to, I'm just doing it. And now you can just snip it off. You don't have to sew it in because this is going to be on the inside. You could leave them for stuffing, but they might be in your way. So that's why I recommend just snipping them off. But save this because you can still use it for stuffing. Okay, now we have our little circle. Here is our hot chocolate. Now what you're going to do is you're going to do this in your cup color and stop before you get to the end of round 4. And I will meet you at the end of round 4. Okay, hopefully you have 24 stitches. Now that we have a better color, I can show you what I was talking about. So you see these little V's? These are our stitches. So we never count this loop that's sticking up, but we do count the stitch that's attached to it. So let's count our loops together. Stitches, I'm sorry. Let's count our stitches together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that was 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Perfect. If you have 24 stitches, let's keep going. Okay, this is one of my favorite tricks to get a lovely flat bottom for your piece. So, this is actually not a beginner's technique, but you guys are going to do it and you're going to do it well. Believe me, it's easy, okay? All you have to do is watch where your stitches go. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Get as best light as I can here. Okay. Normally, when you are making a ridge, you just go in this back loop here. And that's what people recommend. It's fine. But what I like to do is I like to go in the back loop, and do you see these little loops back here? So our back loop is this one. But do you see these little loops that are directly behind it? Like this? I like to go in the back loop and these loops. It creates a tighter look and it has a firmer stand. So whenever I'm going in the back loop to make something that's going to hold something or keep something up, I like to go in the back loop and this little extra loop back here. I'm not really sure what it's called, but this little guy. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our hook. I'm going to go slowly. This is our front loop. This is our back loop. We're going to go in the back loop and in this little other loop, whatever it's called, right here. The first one might be tricky, so you might have to finesse it a little bit, but you see that? Okay. And then we're just going to make a single crochet and mark that stitch. Okay, front loop, back loop, and extra stitch. See that right there? And we're going to do that all the way around. It's a little fiddly. Is it an extra step? Maybe, but it makes your piece look really good. And I love this little trick. And I taught it to myself. I've never seen anybody do it, but I like it. It can be a little annoying at times. Some stitches are tighter than others. So if you absolutely cannot figure it out, then just go through the back loop like this. And that's all you need to do. But if you can figure it out, I strongly recommend it. But it still works. The pattern still works if you can only do the back loop. So do the back loop or the back loop plus the extra loop all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of round 5. Okay, I have 2 stitches left for round 5, and I just want to show you that these are our last 2. We're going to go into our stitches here. And the last one is right here. So we're going to go up and under. Sometimes the first and the last stitches are not the friendliest, but that's okay. Okay. There we go. All right. You should still have 24 stitches. And now we have a base. Hooray! So see, there's now a little ridge. So that is going to be how we build our cup up. Okay. Now we're going to go around. And I am going to mark my cup on the side. Oh, I'm sorry. This is round 6. I should have said that. I'm going to mark my cup instead of here for our stitch marker. I'm going to mark it here for 2 reasons. 1, it tells me that I'm going around for several rounds. And 2, it's not in my way and I don't have to remove it each time. But if you're a beginner, I do recommend putting it in the stitch each time so you don't get lost. And having a little piece of paper next to you, checking off every time you do a row, very, very helpful. Okay. So we're just going to go in every stitch, just normally, around for 24 stitches, and I will meet you at the end of this round. There's nothing fancy, you just go in the stitch, make a single crochet, nothing we haven't done yet, both loops, and I'll meet you at the end of round 6. Okay, you have one more stitch. It's right here. That should be your 24th stitch. So do you see why I stopped? This one is marking right here. This is the stitch next to it. This is obviously the first stitch. Do you see that? If you put a stitch marker here, then you know, but if you put it on the side like me, you can see right there that this is the stitch I go into, not this one. I will meet you at the end of round 12. Okay, now we're going to make the handle. We are going to slip stitch into this front loop right here. So to slip stitch, I know we haven't learned that yet, but don't worry. Insert your hook into just the front loop, that's the one facing you, wrap your yarn, pull through the front loop, and pull through the loop on your hook. That is a slip stitch. Now we are going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 chains on our hook, and without twisting them, I'm going to remove our stitch marker, and not this stitch, but the first ridge stitch right here, the first one that's sticking up, that's where we're going to attach our handle. And again, we're just going to slip stitch. So remember, we go through, and then we've got 2 loops, so we're going to go through the loop on our hook. Okay. Here's where things get a little tricky, but I promise you it's still very easy. All of our chains have a front side and a back side. So we want the front side, which is the flat side. We want that, so all the V's should be facing us instead of these little bumps. And we are going to single crochet in these chain stitches. So we're just gonna make a single crochet like we've been doing in all of these loops. So you'll have about 10 because you have 10 chains. So see, we're just pick a side of them, usually the top side, and these will be the handle. We've got one here and one right here. Don't miss that one. And then we're going to slip stitch in the stitch that we started in. And we will fasten this down later. So there's only like 2 sewing things in this entire project. Okay, now we need to pull up a loop, and now is a good time to stuff. Now, I like to weight mine a little bit so that it stays put while I stick my pins and stuff in it. So I have a couple of these little beads that you put at the bottom of fish bowls. Okay, that's good. Here's the problem with using these. You do not want your needle to hit these. So what you have to do I'm going to use my little hot chocolate here. I have a little scrap of felt, thick felt, and I am going to trace a little circle. This is completely optional. You can always just go ahead and stuff it with fiberfill and that's all you need. But I like to weight mine down, and this is what I do. I'm going to cut this out. And place it on the inside of my cup. Okay. Better. There we go. And it made it bulge out a little bit because these beads are not completely round. And I'm okay with that. If you're not okay with that, then I understand. You can always remove them. Okay. Now let's proceed to stuffing. We're going to stuff this very carefully because we still need to be able to put our hot chocolate in there, and we need room to do that. So we're just going to stuff in little increments. Plus, this is not very big, so we don't want a whole lot of stuffing. Okay. Now what we're going to do, once we're satisfied with the stuffing, we are going to take our little hot chocolate piece and set it inside. You do have to have this side facing you, so the side with the tails needs to be away from you. It needs to be inside the cup. Like so. So take your hook and insert it in the back loop of your first stitch, and in the front loop of your hot cocoa. And single crochet. Do that all the way around. Both of these pieces have 24 stitches all the way around, so it should be fairly easy. But you grab the front loop from your hot cocoa and the back loop from your cup, and just single crochet around. Just make sure you have one of each. So just do that all the way around your cup, and I will meet you at the end. If you are confused in any way, you can always back up this video. Okay, this last stitch could be tricky, but it's right here. It's kind of small. You should have one stitch left on your hot cocoa right there. And there you go. Okay. Now, fasten off the semi-decent tail. Pretty long, actually. Pull out your hook. Get your tapestry needle. We're going to do that invisible join again. So we're going to skip over this one, go into this one. Our yarn came out of here, so that's where we're going to go in. Now it looks like the rest of the cup. Now we're going to go down inside through the red part and go and come out somewhere towards the bottom. Because we need to sew this part down. So all we need to do is make sure that this lays flat. So I'm just going to go in the corner here and down through the bottom of the cup. And that's it. Now I'm just going to make sure that... Now I've got weights in my way, so this part could be tricky for me, but it should be no problems for you because all you have is fluff, unless you weighted it and then you and I are in the same boat. Just want to go through a few stitches back and forth so that it stays. Fasten off. Shape however we like it. Can rub it between our hands a little bit. And right now, mine looks like a mug of hot coffee. So, I'm going to add a few things. This is completely optional. You don't have to do this. I'm going to grab my white yarn again, and I'm going to add some marshmallows. So I am going to do some false French knots. If you've never seen my tutorial on that, I will show you right now. Take a small piece of string, cross the two sides together as if you're going to tie a knot, wrap one side 3 times, 1, 2, 3, wrap the other side 3 times, 1, 2, 3, slowly pull them together until they make a knot. Push on either side. And there we go. And I'm just going to make a few of these and put them in my cup. If you see my little piggy here, he's got false French knots for his eyes. So we've got about 3 here. So I'm going to sew them in my cup. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to pick closer to the edge. I'm going to insert on one side. Insert on the other side. And come out through the exact same stitch. Tie a knot. You can tie multiple knots if you wish, but this is just for me, and you know, no one's going to be near it. I'm not worried about it coming out. Then I'm going to go out the bottom. Again, I'm messing with stones here, so that's going to be difficult. There we go. And then I will snip my yarn as soon as I get there. Oh dear. There we go. One lone little marshmallow. So I am going to pause this and put in the rest of my marshmallows, and I'll be right back. So here is my little mug of cocoa. So I use mine as a pincushion. So you just stick your pins in, you know, like that. You can even stick them in the marshmallows if you want to. And of course my needles. And what I do with the stitch markers is I put them either in the loops or around the loop of the coffee mug, but you can also put them in the loops. So the handle has your stitch markers, and then this part has your pins and your needles. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Remember, you can make these multiple ways. You could make it look like a little snowman, make it look like a little Santa, a little elf, or do stripes. You know, there are so many ways you can make this. It's so versatile. So I like to make mine into a pincushion, but of course you could turn it into a keychain. You could turn it into an ornament. Do whatever you like. I do recommend if it's a keychain or an ornament, you don't put the weights on the bottom, but that's just me. And so it's a very quick, little, easy Christmas gift. And if you know somebody who sews or knits or crochets or what have you, a pincushion is a great little stocking stuffer. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you made something, I want to see it. If you have made the trash bag holders, if you have made the ornament coasters, if you've made the little cocoa mug, please tag me, show me, email me. I would love to see your pictures. Thank you so much. Tomorrow's tutorial is, I'm not going to show you, but I will tell you, it's a glasses case. And you've seen it before. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, life happens, yarn helps, and spoonies can stitch it up too. Bye!